go.
Hello. If you've just received a very ambiguous text message about our son Lincoln, well, I am here to explain the reason. Lincoln certainly needs your prayers right now, as do we, because we went to Lena's 28-week scan to start off the third trimester, and the doctors found something that is slightly concerning. Let me go ahead and start with the end, and then I'll go back and kind of explain how we got here. The ultimate conclusion that the doctors had when they took a look was that Lincoln has something called critical pulmonary stenosis. And what that really means is that there's a problem with his heart. Thankfully, it's a problem with his heart that is fixable. The doctor said it's actually fairly common, although it is in a critical stage, so it is going to require intervention as soon as Lincoln is born. So essentially what the doctor said is once Lincoln is born, he's going to be with us for a couple hours, and as soon as they cut the cord, he's going to have trouble breathing, and so he's almost immediately going to have to go into the NICU, and he's going to be in the NICU probably from 7 to 10 days. During those 7 to 10 days, they're going to do basic intervention that the doctor has done multiple different times. I'll explain that in a minute. He doesn't think that it's going to require surgery, but if that initial intervention doesn't work out, then they will have to do heart surgery. But hopefully that's not going to happen, and he'll just be in the NICU for 7 to 10 days, and there will be no lifelong lasting consequences from this. So to give a brief summary of like how our day went, we showed up, we went down and to do the imaging, and as they were doing the ultrasound, they found something concerning, and we immediately freaked out because they were freaking out, not outwardly freaking out, but certainly saying things that were not very promising and were very scary. So we immediately got to go upstairs in the hospital to see a doctor who is a heart specialist, a cardiologist. This cardiologist specifically is the only one in the hospital that specializes with fetal hearts, which was awesome because this man clearly knew what he was talking about, clearly a specialist, and so he got to see us immediately. He did his own ultrasound, and he came out with his diagnosis. From our conversation with him, he seemed really confident that he knew exactly what the problem was. He knew how to do the intervention to fix it, and that ultimately it's not going to be a huge issue if everything goes as planned. After that, we went down to the birthing center to go to Lena's normally scheduled appointment. And it is true that because of this issue, she won't be able to give birth in the birthing center like normally planned. It'll have to be upstairs because she'll have to do constant monitoring during the birth. But all of the people and the support and the resources from the birthing center are still going to be able to help her and support her upstairs. So all the things she wanted to do for the most part in the birthing center, she'll still be able to do just upstairs in a normal birthing suite. So the doctor was awesome to give us this picture of a heart, and I am not a doctor. Hopefully I will be a lawyer very soon, but I don't know anything about medical things, so I am sure I am explaining this so wrong, but I'm going to try to explain it the way the doctor explained it to us. This is a heart. In the heart, there are different sections: the right atrium, the right ventricle, the left atrium, and the left ventricle. And here's what normally happens. Blood flows in from the right atrium into the right ventricle. It comes out, gets pumped through the lungs. While in the lungs, the blood is infused with oxygen. That oxygenated blood comes in through the left atrium and the left ventricle, and then is pumped out to all the muscles and the organs and everywhere the blood needs to go. Right here is something called the pulmonary valve. This is where Lincoln's having his problems. The pulmonary valve looks like this. If you're looking down into the tube, it sort of has these 3 leaves that kind of lock together to close up the hole. And the goal of that is to open and close to let the blood flow through the pulmonary valve. And for Lincoln's problem right now is this pulmonary valve is almost completely closed. He drew these little pictures for us to show that sometimes this is what we want, is the pulmonary valve to be open. Sometimes it's just a little closed, sometimes it's a lot of closed, And this is the critical stage, which means his pulmonary valve is almost completely closed, which means the blood is not flowing through here like it's supposed to. His right ventricle was really swollen because the heart kind of puffed up. It's like if you do a lot of curls, your bicep is going to be a lot bigger because it's constantly trying to push blood through here, but it's not getting through. And because of that, this right ventricle is really swollen, is really big. That muscle is getting real big. And because the blood's not able to flow through here, the blood is getting backed up into the right atrium. Thankfully, babies' bodies and mama's body is awesome. And God has designed us in such an awesome way that the baby's able to take care of itself even when things aren't going the way they're supposed to. So he kind of explained this. I didn't fully understand this part, but the body sort of develops these other channels and other ways for the blood to get where it's supposed to go while it's still in the womb, even when this valve is sort of clogged up and is not able to get through. And so while in the womb, the baby is doing okay. He can get oxygen. He can continue to develop the way he's supposed to. The only problem is blood is not going through this valve as planned. It's awesome because as long as Lena is breathing, Lincoln can get oxygenated blood through Lena. And so he's able to breathe. He's able to get all the nutrients he needs to continue to grow. The problem is once Lincoln is born, and as soon as the umbilical cord is cut, he's not going to be able to get that oxygenated blood as normal. And so what happens is if he's born and this problem is not taken care of, baby's not going to be able to breathe, and that's obviously an issue. So when Lincoln goes to the NICU, what's going to happen is the doctor is going to come in, he's going to open up this valve, and then he's going to give Lincoln medication to bring down the swelling in this right ventricle. So hopefully all of that intervention during that week or a little bit longer than a week that he is in the NICU, there won't have to be surgery, because what's going to go is the doctor is going to go in through the umbilical cord and put in what's basically a catheter. So, a long tube that has a balloon attached to it. The balloon's going to put right here. Once the balloon inflates, it's going to go in and basically just open up this valve so that blood is going to go where it's supposed to go. The catheter will be removed. Hopefully this valve will be open. The medication will bring down this swelling. And if that all goes as planned, Lincoln will be all right. He'll come home and he'll live a perfectly normal life. Today was very scary. It was very overwhelming. And all we ask is that you continue to pray for us and to think of us and help us as we go through this journey. There's nothing we can do right now to prepare other than to continue to do the things that we've been doing. It is worth noting that once the birth does happen, that week is going to be a very difficult week for us and for Lincoln. And so prayers during that week, support during that first week, meals and other things while Lena's recovering from birth. Lincoln is going through all this intervention. I'm going to have to pick up studying for the bar. So those few weeks are going to be crazy. So all we ask is that you continue praying for us, continue praying for Lincoln, and plan to help us out during those weeks. If you have any questions, obviously reach out to us. Hopefully I've explained this all well. The doctor did say to probably not Google the name of this condition, only because we can get thrown into the weeds and get overwhelmed and stressed and worried about all these possible things that could go wrong. Ultimately, Lena and I trust the doctor. He seemed very confident that he knew what the problem was and how to do the intervention to fix it. And so we're putting it all in God's hands, and we know that it's all going to work out. We love you very much.